Oh my goodness. We're back. It's the O Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, CW. Thank you so much for listening. We're back in the saddle. We've taken some time off. We had some fun with the family. We played some video games, Diablo 4. Started a new wrestling project, a new secret project with my brother. It's going to be a great time. You guys will see it eventually. But in the meantime, I'm back in my chair. My microphone's hot. I'm ready to record. We're back in the saddle. 100 episodes in from before. This is 101. But I think moving forward, we're going to stop counting the episodes because, one, it was just a lot. And two, it makes it easier for me to just do these randomly. Or maybe not so random. Maybe it's once a month or twice a week or once a week. I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll do it when I have something to say. And maybe develop a cadence. And then maybe if we get some more people listening, we'll turn this into a video podcast. Who knows? The sky is the limit because, again, it's my thing. I can do whatever I want. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. Today, we're talking about the Alpha Academy. Who's Alpha Academy? Alpha Academy is Chad Gable, Otis, and now the new recruit, Maxine Duper, who has decoupled herself from Maxine male model. Is that what it was called? The male model gimmick with Mansoor and Masse, or however he was pronouncing his name. The two fellas you can find on Up Up Down Down. It's great to see Maxine kind of pulled away from that angle, which I don't think was going anywhere. I think they were having fun with this goofy angle, but the goofy angle doesn't work if you're also a loser. And I'm not calling those three losers in like they are losers, but they were losing. They were losing a lot. They were losing all the time, and the angle didn't make a whole lot of sense to offset their goofiness and their flamboyant male model personas. You had to have them win. They had to pin people. And I don't care who they pin. They can pin jobbers, locals, whatever they had to do. They had to rack up some wins, but I don't remember them winning a whole bunch at all. And having Maxine kind of shuffle them through the tag division, losing, but then consistently telling them that they were great, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. And they did their best work, offline, off TV. They were doing, WWE.com exclusive stuff that I think people were really enjoying. But all that being said, everyone in that program deserved better. And the fact that they've now paired Maxine with Alpha Academy works wonders for me. Now, Alpha Academy is on the other side of that equation where they were racking up wins. When they were their hottest heel versions of themselves, Chad promoting Otis as his number one guy and kind of training him to be an Olympic wrestler, it made sense. Their angle makes sense within the context of professional wrestling. Now having Maxine join and go from being kind of Otis's, I can't get over calling him Otis, it's the perfect name. Having Maxine sort of clinging to Otis and almost being his valet to now being a student of Alpha Academy, and Chad Gable turning into the coach again, but now in a face program, is perfection to me. I think Chad Gable is one of the greatest wrestlers WWE has on its roster right now. He is maybe the best. The dude is the greatest utility player in the company right now, hands down. Fight me on it. The man can do any match. He can wrestle anybody. He can make everyone look good. He can make himself look good. He has great promo skills. He has a great look. Again, I always thought he was like the second coming of Kurt Angle, the man without all the injuries. The man does it all. Every move he does is crisp. He could tell a story in the ring. And him being with Otis and now Maxine and him training Maxine, it has such a long tail for great storytelling. I can't wait to see where it goes because, again, Maxine is coming in. I don't know. I haven't looked up what Maxine's wrestling background is, if anything. I'm sure she's training. But if she's actually training with Chad Gable, that's even better because he can make her an amazing wrestler. And the one thing WWE doesn't have on its roster is like a super technical female wrestler. If she becomes like the female Chad Gable, where she's doing crazy technical moves, amazing holds, top rope flips and stuff like that, That's great for Maxine, especially if she's holding on to this like model persona, not necessarily like she's a model, with taking on clients or whatnot, but like this kind of almost preppy, like I have to be fashionable, but also dangerous in the ring. That's a fantastic gimmick because they don't present her as some sort of airhead. She's just a woman who is into fashion, right? But if that persona couples with like the most dangerous holds and she's really good at wrestling, that can go so far. That puts her in Shayna Baszler territory. That puts her in Ronda Rousey territory. That puts her in Natalya territory. That puts her in Trish Stratus territory. That puts her like she gets to elevate herself with Chad Gable if they are in fact training to wrestle. I would even go so far as if WWE saw something in her to put her in legitimate like Olympic wrestling classes, jiu-jitsu classes, get her to be dangerous and then hold on to that gimmick. She'd be incredibly compelling to watch because again, the thing that made Maxine male models not work is that they were so focused on the male modeling and not the wrestling. They lost on both fronts. People didn't want to see the male modeling, and then they didn't want to see them wrestle because they kept losing. Now, if you make Chad Gable her coach, and then every week he teaches her like a new easy move, not easy is the wrong word. He teaches her a new wrestling move, like this week on Raw, it was the arm drag, and maybe next week it's the suplex or, something, right? Something to build her arsenal to be a dangerous wrestler, and then you get to watch her progression week over week where she becomes like she dives deeper and deeper into her fashion persona, but also like builds this crazy repertoire of wrestling moves to the point where she's then an active member of Alpha Academy and wrestling other amazing women wrestlers and winning. That's fantastic. And to the cherry on top is now their face group. They're no longer heels. Chad Gable is not telling the crowd to shush. The crowd's telling him to shush. And there was a segment on Raw where I was telling my wife, like the match had nothing to do with Chad Gable and I think it was Ivar he was wrestling. It had everything to do with Maxine arm dragging Valhalla to set up their match or maybe an intergender match or something like that. But in that match, I think there was a moment where it was like a mandate from the back, like we're going to test out how over Chad Gable is right now. So Ivar walks up to Chad and inexplicably just yells in his face for no reason, just growls at him, just really loud yell, growl, just screams. And Chad turns around and puts his fingers to his mouth and looks at the crowd, and the crowd yells shush. So Chad yells shush, effectively turning him face. He's no longer telling the crowd to shush. He's looking for them to tell him to shush his opponent. So if you're a wrestling fan, you already know what's going to happen. Look for Chad Gable to be in the ring with people, calling for them to shush. So people will start talking to him, whatever the case may be. They'll say something he doesn't like, or they'll scream at him or whatever, and he'll look to the crowd and then he'll shush them. It's great. I think Chad Gable is an amazing wrestler. I said it in the beginning. He's one of my favorite wrestlers to date. He's incredible. He doesn't get enough praise, I don't think. I think he gets the most praise in the back. I think he's one of Triple H's favorite guys, honestly, because regardless of how many wins or losses he may get, he gets a lot of TV time. Triple H sends him out there to rescue some segments. And Otis is a fantastic player as well. They didn't give him Money in the Bank for no reason. In 2020? I still think they have no idea what to do with Money in the Bank, but they did give it to him. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Alpha Academy, welcoming in Maxine. Hopefully she becomes a longtime player. Thank you so much for listening. We're back, baby. Maybe we'll do another one tomorrow. I don't know. What day is it? I'm so lost. Anyway, again, thank you for listening. This has been the O Wrestling Podcast, and don't you ever forget.